Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Tivirandasya Jnanam Jalashalakaya Chakshurunlimitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Shaitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rushabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vrischa Kripa Sindhube Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. No, Jai Shri Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshitarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. You want to read the first one?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Text 6. Chapter 6 now, Prabhu.
No, I think this is 8, Prabhu.
Huh?
We're already at 8.
Oh. Okay. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajyate ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhavitha yam yam whatever va ether api also smaran remembering bhavam nature tyajati give up ante at the end kalevaram this body tam tam similar eva certainly iti gets kaunteya o son of kunti sada always that bhava state of being bhavita wait remembering translation Vishnu Prabhupada. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The purpose of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death is here explained. How can one die in the proper state of mind? Maharaj Bharat thought of a deer at the time of death and so was transferred to that form of life. However, as a deer, Maharaj Bharata could remember his past activities. Of course, the cumulative effect of the thoughts and actions of one's life influence one's thoughts at the moment of death. Therefore, the actions of this life determine one's future state of being. If one is transcendentally absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual, not physical. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being to transcendental life. Text 7. तस्मत् सर्वेषु कालेषु माम् अनुस्मर युध्य च मये अर्पित मनो बुद्धिर माम् एवैष्यस्य अस्मस्य. How it spells, Prabhu? Is correct or what? Mam evaishya.
Mame Vaishyasya Samshaya.
Mam e vaishasya samshaya. Thank you,
Yes,
bro.
Prabhu. Haribol.
Synonyms. Tasmat, therefore, sarveshu, always, kaleshu, time, time, mam, unto me, anushmara, go on, remembering, yudhya, fight, cha, also, my, unto me, arpita, and surrender, manaha, mind, buddhi, intellect, mam, unto me, eva, surely, yes, 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 see, yes, will attain, asmas, asmayaha. Prabhu, 1 minute. Okay. Asmasyaha. Behind it out. Translation by Prabhupada. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the time and the, sorry and at the same time carry out your prescribed duties of fighting with your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me. You will attain me without doubt. Purport. Srila Prabhupada. This instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements. One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's names, one will be transferred to the supreme planet Krishnaloka without a doubt.
Haribol. Okay, I can
Okay,
read one.
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, please continue.
अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना परमं पुरुषं दिव्यं याति पार्थानुचिन्तयान्. Word to word, abhyasa, practice. Yoga yuktena, being engaged in meditation. Chetasa, by the mind and intelligence. Na anya gamina, without being deviated. Paramam, the supreme, Purusham, personality of Godhead. Divyam, transcendental. Yati, achieves. Partha, o son of Pratha. Anuchintayan, constantly thinking of. Translation. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, Arjuna, is sure to reach me. Purport. In this verse, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice and it helps one to attain the Supreme Lord. Purusham means enjoyer. Although living entities belong to the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, they are in material contamination. They think themselves enjoyers, but they are not the Supreme Enjoyer. Here it is clearly stated that the Supreme Enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different manifestations and plenary expansions as Narayana, Vasudeva, etc. The devotees can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his features, Narayana, Krishna, Rama, etc., by chanting Hare Krishna. This practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to this constant chanting, he will be transferred to the kingdom of God. Yoga practice is meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. The mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of the caterpillar that thinks of becoming butterfly and so is transformed into a butterfly in the same life. Similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certainly certain that at the end of our lives we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. Text number 9. Kavim Puranam Anushashitaram Anoraniyam Samanushmaredya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasah Parastad. Word to word. Kavim, one who knows everything. Puranam, the oldest. Anushasitaram, the controller. Anuho, of the atom. Aniyamsam, smaller than. Anushmared, always thinking. Yaha, one who. Sarvasya, of everything. Dataram, maintainer. Achintya, inconceivable. Rupam, form. Aditya, Varnam, illuminated like the sky. Tamasaha, of the darkness. Parasta, transcendental. Translation. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental is beyond this material nature. Purport. The process of thinking of the Supreme is mentioned in this verse. The foremost point is that he is not impersonal or void. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. That is very difficult. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated herein. First of all, he is Purusha, spiritual, Rama and Krishna, and is described herein as Kavim. That is, he knows past, present, and future, and therefore he knows everything. He is the oldest personality because he is the origin of everything. Everything is born out of him. He is also the supreme controller of the universe, maintainer and instructor of the humanity. He is smaller than the smallest. The living entity is 1/10,000th part of the tip of a hair, but the Lord is so inconceivably small that he enters into the heart of this particle. Therefore, he is called smaller than the smallest. As the Supreme, he can enter into the atom and into the heart of the smallest and control him as the Super Soul. Although so small, he is still all pervading and is maintaining everything. By him, all these planetary systems are sustained. We often wonder how these big planets are floating in the air. It is stated here that the Supreme Lord, by his inconceivable energy, is sustaining all these big planets and systems of galaxies. The word achintya, inconceivable, is very significant in this connection. God's energy is beyond our conception, beyond our thinking jurisdiction, and is therefore called inconceivable achintya. Who can argue this point? He pervades this material world and yet is beyond it. We cannot even comprehend this material world, which is insignificant compared to the spiritual world, so how can we comprehend what is beyond? Achintya means that which is beyond this material world. That which our argument, logic, and philosophical speculation cannot touch, that which is inconceivable. Therefore, intelligent persons, avoiding useless argument and speculation, should accept what is stated in scriptures like the Vedas, Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam and follow the principles they set down. This will lead one to understanding. Okay, who wants to read the next verse? Okay, I can read one more. प्रयाणकाले मनसा चलेन भक्त्या युक्तो योगबलेन चैव भ्रुवोर्मध्ये प्राणम् अवेश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषम् उपैति दिव्यम्. Word to word. Prayanakale, at the time of death, manasa, by the mind, achalena, without being deviated, bhaktya, in full devotion, yuktaha, engaged, yoga balena, by the power of mystic yoga, cha, also, eva, certainly, bruvo, between the two eyebrows, madhye, in, pranam, the life air, veshya, establishing, samyak, completely, saha, he, tam, that, param, transcendental, purusham, personality of Godhead, upaiti, achieves, divyam, in the spiritual kingdom. Translation. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows and in full devotion engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this verse, it is clearly stated that at the time of death, the mind must be fixed in devotion on the Supreme Godhead. For those practiced in yoga, it is recommended that they raise the life force between the eyebrows, but for a pure devotee who does not practice such yoga, the mind should always be engaged in Krishna consciousness so that at death he can remember the Supreme by his grace. This is explained in verse 14. The particular use of the word yoga balena is significant in this verse because without practice of yoga one cannot come to this transcendental state of being at the time of death. One cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at death unless he is practiced in some yoga system, especially the system of Bhakti Yoga. Since one's mind at death is very disturbed, one should practice transcendence through yoga during one's life. Ribo. Okay, now someone can read the next one.
Prabhu, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you so much. I have the book. I will try to read from there. My little bit brain is tired after screen work, so I'll
Yes,
try to
Prabhu,
read
that's
it.
okay.
Yad aksharam veda vido vadanti vishanti yad yatatyo yateo vitaraga yad ichantu brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrena pravakshe. Yat that which aksharam syllable om veda vidha persons conversant with the Vedas vadanti say vishanti enter yat in which ya yataya great sages vitaraga in the renounced order of life yet that which Ichanta desiring brahmacharyam celibacy, charanti practice that they unto you padam situation sangrena in summary pravakshe I shall explain. Translation persons who are learned in the Vedas who utter Omkara and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Purport. Lord Shri Krishna has recommended to Arjuna the practice of such chakra yoga in which one places the air of life between the eyebrows, taking it for granted that Arjuna might not know how to practice such chakra yoga. The Lord explains the process in the following verses. The Lord says that Brahman, although one without a second, has various manifestations and features, especially for the impersonalists, the Akshara or Omkara, the syllable Om, is identical with Brahman. Krishna here explains the impersonal Brahman in which the renounced order of sages enter. In the Vedic system of knowledge, students from the very beginning are taught to vibrate Om and learn of the ultimate impersonal Brahman by living with the spiritual master in complete celibacy. In this way, they realize two of Brahman's features. This practice is very essential for the student's advancement in spiritual life, but at the moment such brahmachari, unmarried celibate life is not at all possible. The social construction of the world has changed so much that there is no possibility of one's practicing celibacy from the beginning of student life. Throughout the world, there are many institutions for different departments of knowledge, but there is no recognized institution where students can be educated in brahmachari principles. Unless one practices celibacy, advancement in spiritual life is very difficult. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has announced, according to the scriptural injunctions for this age of Kali, that in this age no process of realizing the Supreme is possible except for the chanting of the holy names of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Textual सर्वद्वाराणि संयम्य मनोहृदय निरुध्य च मूर्धनि अध्यात्मना प्राणम आश्रितो योगाधारणम. Sarva Dwarani, all the doors of the body, Samyamya, controlling, Mana, the mind, Hrithi in the heart, Nirudhaya, confining, Cha also, Murdni, on the head, Ardhaya, fixing, Atmana, of the soul, Pranam, the life air, Asthita, situated in Yoga Dharana, the yogic situation. Translation: the yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. Purport: to practice yoga as suggested here, one first has to close the doors of all sense enjoyment. This practice is called pratyahar, or withdrawing the senses from the sense objects. The sense organs for acquiring knowledge, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch, should be fully controlled and should not be allowed to engage in self gratification. In this way, the mind focuses on the supersoul in the heart and the life force is raised to the top of the head. In the sixth chapter, this process is described in detail. But as mentioned before, this practice is not practical in this age. The best process is Krishna consciousness. If one is always able to fix his mind on Krishna in devotional service, it is very easy for him to remain in an undisturbed transcendental trance or in samadhi. Text 13. ॐ इति अक्षरं ब्रह्म व्याहरं मम अनुस्मरं यः प्रयाति त्यज देहं स यति paramam gatim. Om, the combination of letters Om, Omkara, iti, thus, ek aksharam, the one syllable, Brahma, absolute, vyaharam, vibrating, mam, me, Krishna, Anusmaran, remembering, Ya, anyone who prayati leaves, Tyajan, quitting, Deham, this body, Sa, he, Yati, achieves, Paramam, the supreme, Gatam, destination. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet's purpose. It is clearly stated here that Om, Brahman, and Lord Krishna are not different. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound Hare Krishna contains Om. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is clearly recommended for this age. So if one quits his body at the end of life chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, he certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets according to the mood of his practice. The devotees of Krishna enter the Krishna planet, Goloka Vrindavan. For the personalists, there are also innumerable other planets known as Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, whereas the impersonalists remain in the Brahmajyoti. Text 14. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yo Mam Smarati Nityasa Tasyaham Sulabha Partha Nitya Yuktasya Yoginah. Ananya Cheta, without deviation of the mind, Satatam, always, ya, anyone who, me, Krishna, Smarati, remembers, Nityasa, regularly, Tasya, to him, aham, I am, Sulabha, very easy to achieve, Partha, O son of Pritha, Nitya, regularly, Yuktasya, engaged, Yogina, for the devotee. Translation: for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. This verse specially describes the final destination obtained by the unalloyed devotees who serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhakti Yoga. Previous verses have mentioned four different kinds of devotees: the distressed, the inquisitive, those who seek material gain, and the speculative philosophers. Different processes of liberation have also been described: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. The principles of these yoga systems have some bhakti added, but this verse particularly mentions pure bhakti yoga without any mixture of jnana, karma, or hatha. As indicated by the word ananya cheta, in pure bhakti yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. A pure devotee does not desire promotion to heavenly planets, nor does he seek oneness with the Brahmajyoti or salvation or liberation from material entanglement. A pure devotee does not desire anything. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pure devotee is called Nishkama, which means he has no desire for self interest. Perfect peace belongs to him alone, not to them who strive for personal gain. Whereas a Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi, or Hatha Yogi has his own selfish interests, a perfect devotee has no desire other than to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord says that for anyone who is unflinchingly devoted to Him, He is easy to attain. A pure devotee always engages in devotional service to Krishna in one of his various personal features. Krishna has various plenary expansions and incarnations such as Rama and Narasimha, and a devotee can choose to fix his mind in loving service to any of these transcendental forms of the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee meets with none of the problems that plague the practitioners of other yoga. Bhakti yoga is very simple and pure and easy to perform. One can begin simply by chanting Hare Krishna. The Lord is merciful to all, but as we have already explained, He is especially inclined toward those who are always serve Him without deviation. The Lord helps us devotees in various ways. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 1 223, Yam evashya vrnute tena labhyas tasya sa atma vrnute tanum swam. One who is fully surrendered and engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord can understand the Supreme Lord as he is. And as stated in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. The Lord gives such a devotee sufficient intelligence so that ultimately the devotee can attain him in his spiritual kingdom. The special qualification of the pure devotee is that he is always thinking of Krishna without deviation and without considering time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Some say that the devotee should remain in holy places like Vrindavan or some holy town where the Lord lived, but a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service. It was Sri Advaita who told Lord Chaitanya, wherever you are, O Lord, there is Vrindavan, as indicated by the word Satatam and Nityasa, which means always, regularly, or every day. A pure devotee constantly remembers Krishna and meditates upon him. These are qualifications of the pure devotee for whom the Lord is most easily attainable. Bhakti Yoga is the system that the Gita recommends above all others. Generally, the Bhakti yogis are engaged in five different ways. Shanta Bhakta engaged in devotional service in neutrality. Second, Dasya Bhakta engaged in devotional service as servant. Third, Sakhya Bhakta engaged as friend, Vatsalya Bhakta engaged as parent, and fifth, Madhurya Bhakta engaged as conjugal lover of the Supreme Lord. In any of these ways, the pure devotee is always constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord and cannot forget the Supreme Lord, and so for him the Lord is easily attained. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment, and similarly, the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. This is a great blessing of Krishna conscious process of chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Text 15. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalyam ashasvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. Mam, me, upetya, achieving, puna, again, janma, birth, dukh alayam, place of miseries, ashasvatam, temporary, Na, never, apnuvanti, attain. Mahatmanaha, the great souls, samsiddhim, perfection. Paramam, ultimate. Gata, having achieved. Translation. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. Purport. Since this temporary material world is full of the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, naturally he who achieves the highest perfection and attains the supreme planet Krishna Loka, Golaka Vrindavan, does not wish to return. The supreme planet is described in Vedic literature as Avyakta and Akshara and Paramagati. In other words, that planet is beyond our material vision and it is inexplicable, but it is the highest goal, the destination for the Mahatma's great soul. The Mahatmas receive transcendental messages from the realized devotees and thus gradually develop devotional service in Krishna consciousness and become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to any of the material planets, nor do they even want to be transferred to any spiritual planet. They only want Krishna and Krishna's association and nothing else. That is the highest perfection of life. This verse specifically mentions the personalist devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. These devotees in Krishna consciousness achieve the highest perfection of life. In other words, they are the supreme souls.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Rahul.
Haribol. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Lebahang Prabhu.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Madhav Prabhu, Tanda Jai Shila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada. Haribo.
Lebahang Prabhu, Madhav, can you read the next verse?
Yes, Prabhu.
Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu.
Just a second. Let me tilt my phone.
We can read two more.
Yeah, can I start?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, this one it's about the miseries all the material planets, from the highest to the lowest.
Very nice, Prabhu.
Haribo. Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Purna Avartino Arjuna. Mam Upetya Tu Kaunteya Purna Janma Na Vidyate. Synonyms: Brahma, up to the Brahmaloka planet. Bhuvanat, from the planetary systems. Lokaha, planets. Punaha, again. Avartinaha, returning. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Mam, unto me. Upetya, arriving. Tu, but. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Punaha, Janma. Okay, Punaha, Janma, rebirth. Na, never. Vidyate, takes to. Translation: from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest are all places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All kinds of yogis, karma, jnana, hatha, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain the highest material planets or the planets of the demigods are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people in higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka fall down to the earth. The practice of sacrifice called Panchagni, something about fire there, Panchagni Vidya, recommended in the Katha Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if in Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness in the higher Hare Krishna Bhaktajat Prabhu, please accept humble obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhu.
For joining, Prabhu.
Haribo.
Krishna Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Haribo. Planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation, are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. When there is the devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. Sahasra, for sure it's 1,000, Prabhu, yeah, oh, it's written down. Sahasra Yuga Paryatam Ahar Yad Brahmano Vidu Ratrim Yuga Sahasranatam Teho Ratra Vido. Is it Janaha?
Yes,
Sahasra, 1,000, Yuga, millenniums, Parayantam, including Aha, day, Yat, that, Brahmanaha, yeah, Brahmanaha, of Brahma, Vidur, know it, Ratrim, night, Yuga, millenniums, Sahasra, Antam, similarly at the end of 1,000, Te. That aha ratra, day and night, vidaha, understand, janaha, people. Translation: by human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together is the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. Purport: the duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in the cycle of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dwarpa, and Kali. The cycle of Satya is characterized by virtue, wisdom, and religion, there being practically no ignorance and vice. And the yuga lasts 1,728 years. In the Treta Yuga, vice is introduced, and this yuga lasts 1,296,000 years. In the Dwarpa Yuga, there is an even greater decline in virtue and religion. Vice increases, and this yuga lasts 864,000 years. And finally, in the Kali Yuga, the yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non-existent, and this yuga lasts 432,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as the Kalki Avatara, vanquishes the demons, saves his devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These 4 yugas, rotating 1,000 times, comprise one day of Brahma, the creator God, and the same number comprise one night, Brahma. One night. Brahma lives 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years by Earth calculation total to 311 trillion and 40 million Earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable. But from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as lightning flash, In the causal ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, however, is directly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord in the management of this universe. Therefore, he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma's particular planet, Brahmaloka, which is the highest planet in the material universe and which survives all the heavenly planets in the upper strata of the planetary systems. But in due course, Brahma and all inhabitants of Brahmaloka are subjects to death. Brahmaloka are subjects to death according to the law of material nature. Haribo.
Prabhu. Okay, let's see. One more, Prabhu.
Avyaktad vyaktayaha sarvaha prabhavanti agame ratri agame pralinyate. Bye bye, Bhakti Chat Prabhu. Ratri agame. Oh,
For joining.
Ratri. Is he out?
Thank you so much for
Ratri.
joining, Jet Prabhu. See you again tomorrow. Haribo.
Haribol. Bye-bye. Haribol.
10 million books.
Good night.
Very happy to see you, Prabhu. Bye-bye.
Oh, Prabhu, I did not do the last line on the Sanskrit. Tatraiva Tatraiva Vyakta Samgyake. Yo, I should have ran away. Synonyms. Avyakta.
Oh, 1 second, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Avyakta, from the unmanifest. Vyaktayaha, living entity. Sarvaha, all. Prabhavanti, come into being. Aha agame, at the beginning of the day. Ratri agame, all at the fall of night. Praliyante, are annihilated. Tatra, there, ever, certainly. Avyakta, the unmanifest. Samgyake, called. Translation. When Brahma's day is manifest, this multitude of living entities comes into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. Purport. The less intelligent jivas try to remain within this material world and are accordingly elevated and degraded into the various planetary systems. During the day of Brahma, they exhibit their activities, and at the coming of Brahma's night, they are annihilated. In the day, they receive various bodies for material activities, and at night, these bodies perish. The jivas, individual souls, remain compact in the body of Vishnu and again are manifested at the arrival of Brahma's day. When Brahma's life is finally finished, they are all annihilated and remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. Finally, when Brahma is born again in another millennium, they again manifest. In this way, the jivas are captivated by the material world. However, those intelligent beings who take to Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, I had just had to do it all. In devotional service, transfer themselves even in this life to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful then, not being subject to rebirths.
Thank you so much, Lebang Prabhu, for reading. Haribo.
Haribol. Prabhu, as someone assist, is it cake, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, now he's rocket.
He's Elon Musk now.
Yes, Prabhu, he's going to Mars.
Yeah, you can start, Prabhu.
Cheto darpanam bhavamaha davagninirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Namna makari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrarpitanyamita smarane nakalaha एतादृशी तव कृपान् भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमेतृशं हाजिनानुराग्रहा
Trinatapi sunishinataroapi saishnuna amanina manandena kirtanya sadahari.
नूतनप्रजनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भगवद्भक्तिर्युगित्वयि
नन्दतनुजाकिङ्करं पतितं मम विषमे भवं बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजं स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय
नैनं गलदश्रुधारया पतनं गद्गदाहृदया गिरा पुलगर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगैतं निमिषेण चक्षुषा प्रविशायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
Slisyava pararatham vinastumam adarsanam marmahatam karotuva yata tata vyavita tulam pato matprananathastasvevana para.
Haribol. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid all of sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal savior, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my speech decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years of more. The tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling a vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord.
Also, ich gehe kurz rein, ich esse was und dann schreiben, ja?
Haribol, Sri Siksastakam ki jai.
Jai.
To bless from the devotees who dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. First offense.
Haribol.
Second offense, consider names of demigod like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be unequal or to independent to the name of the Lord Vishnu.
To disobey the orders of the spiritual master, thinking him as an ordinary person. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in preference to the Vedic version.
Oh, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna to be glories of being imagination.
To give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh one, to commit
To
sinful
commit
activity from the strength of the holy name.
Consider chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities mentioned in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
to instruct the holy names to the I forgot that one. To instruct what a faithless persons to the what Prabhu, can you to instruct the faithless persons about the glories of the holy name? Oh, always mixed it up.
And one, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting, where every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve their desired success. Krishna Prema.
Let us offer humble
Let us
obeisances to
offer
Krishna
our
devotees
humble
of the Lord
obeisance to
who
all
are
the
united
Vaishnava
in their
devotees of the Lord
religion,
who are
no
like
desires
just
and are
like
full of
like
compassion for the
that who are
Father.
fulfill all desires and full of compassion for the fallen conditions. Vancha kalpatarusha vasandu devachavati jaganam pramane Krishna namo namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Full glory to Krishna
Prabhu,
Prabhupada. Thank you for all the
uh,
devotees for joining. Jai
thank
Shri
you very much, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you very much, devotees.
Prabhu is back. Haribol.
Haribo, 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 Haribo.
See you again tomorrow, Prabhu.